Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video, but a little bit different because we've got a special guest on today. I want to welcome Coldbrew. Coldbrew, how you doing?
Hey man, thanks for having me over. It's been a long while since we did a collab, like just us two. I think the
100%.
last time it was me, you, and Stu. I think that we made a collab. So long time ago.
Yeah, and I've got to say, like, I miss those days. So we used to do, for those that haven't seen this, we used to do like a challenge every week where Coldbrew, Stu, and I would be going head to head on some sort of wacky setup like Fire Night as quick as you can, but you can only use 3 epics, 1 rare. And actually, I really enjoyed that stuff. I really enjoyed doing it. I don't know how it fell away, but we should get back on it. I think it was
Maybe we could
actually
try
really
for
cool.
25s because we have the 25s now. Maybe that's a good idea.
Maybe we try and get Stu back in the mix, see if he still plays the game. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, what we're going to do today. So I wanted to do a collab with Coldbrew. We've actually just done one on his channel, so you should go and check out his channel. I'll link it below. But I wanted to talk about fusions or fragment events and actually why I think they're always good. So even if the fragment champion, and I'm looking at you, Vlad, is kind of average to bad, I still feel like you should absolutely go for the champion. And there's a few reasons why I've got that. But I was just curious. I know, Coldbrew, you've done a load of kind of free-to-play work, and you've been playing on an account for what, nearly a year now?
Yeah,
Um,
over 300 days on a free to
yeah.
play.
And through that time, I mean, how many of the fragment events have you done versus the ones that you just decided not to do?
So I've actually done all the fragment events available. And I pushed for every single one of the champions, even if they didn't look that great. So like Rorik or maybe Vlad now doesn't look that great,
Yeah.
but I still push for it. I'm pushing for it. Um,
And
just
why is that?
because
What's pushed you to do it?
it's not only the potential of the champion being good later on or considered good later on when more people play around with the champion and not just us, the content creators on the test server.
Yeah.
It's also about there's all of these events going on and you get some free rewards along with them, and it's making me just put in more effort, I think, in those events, get the free stuff, trying to organize my resources, my spending of the energy that we get from the every single day from the quests and the clan quest, clan shop, energy that we get from there. So
Yeah.
it's a management of my resources and also doing the events, get some free stuff from there, chickens, books usually, and those forge materials also.
Yeah, so it felt like to me, and I was actually going through this on my own account the other day because I was thinking I'm close to Vlad. Was it worth the effort? And what I've realised is through some of the events which feel brutal at the time, and a good example of that is like the recent champion training we just had for Vlad. Needed to get to like 9,000 or something points. And when I first saw it, I was thinking, I don't want to do that. I don't want to just sit here running 12-3 over and over again, grinding out this food. But I've got to the other side of it. I got those fragments, and I actually got 3 new 6-star champions out the other end because I just put the effort into to grind the food. And on top of that, I got some 50s as well. But, all of a sudden, I've got Duke in the lineup. Arbiter's now 6-star. Seal got 6-starred and maxed. And you're like, I don't think my account would be in the position it is if these events weren't kind of forcing us or pushing us to maximize our energy spend. And a good example of that is, I went into, as soon as I knew that I needed to do it, I was in the clan shop buying up all of the energy. So I bought my 10 out of 10. I was like, I know I'm going to spend it because I'm absolutely going all out to get more 6-stars because I definitely wanted the fragments.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of a sneakily strong way that Plarium get us to move the accounts on.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense the way that you put it out. It's like when we went to school and we had homework and you kind of
Yeah,
had to do it to get
you
smarter.
don't want to do it, but you should do it. Like even books and stuff.
Yeah.
People say to me, "Are you spending on this account? You seem to always have books. You seem to always have chickens." And I'm like, I'm just doing the events. I just do the events that are put in front of us, mainly for these fragment events or fusions. And I find that I'm kind of, yeah, I still have to grind food, I still have to do all of that stuff, but I definitely have got way more resources than I ever thought I would have. Especially if you consider books, the champions that I'm using in most of my content are either fully booked or they've got books in the skills that matter. Um,
Right.
and I'm still kind of topping up in between these different events. I'm still topping up with bits and pieces as well. So it just feels to me like, although the system can feel pretty brutal because it's almost like, right, one's finished, when's the next one? The next one's literally 2 weeks away, and then you're going again. It feels like they've actually done it in quite a good way to help people at least develop their accounts quick enough to enjoy the game. Yeah,
Yeah, it 100% forces people to consider, okay, I need to do champion training now, take a break from farming dragon because I can do that in 2 days.
yeah,
And I'll also get some fragments. I'll get a champion out of that. So yeah, I can do this today. In 2 days, I'll do that. Okay, we have arena in the weekend. I'll push more arena in the weekend, do more tag arena. Uh, and although tag arena doesn't give you fragments, it hasn't given you ever fragments. It does give you some nice energy at the start,
yeah. It does.
and that
Yeah.
helps. That helps with the fragment fusions.
And do you find, so I know that you've recently pushed Faction Wars and actually completed Faction Wars on the free to play. How many of the kind of fusion or fragment champions, even like unbooked, maybe level 50, were you still using in those teams? Or how many kind of just have sat to the wayside?
I would say that, like, if I didn't have good teams already, for an example, for Demon Spawn, that epic that we had, I think his name was Dur or
Yeah, yeah.
something. The epic.
They're the Hungerer.
So that was a really good, yeah, that was a really good epic available for that specific faction. Although I wanted to get the legendary champion, so I pushed for that. That was a big break into Bannerlords for me for Sigmund.
Sure.
So getting Sigmund was pretty huge. Um, Let me think. I think Forest, the hippo, was
Yeah.
a fragment or a fusion
Yeah,
champion,
that
I
was a
think.
fragment. Yeah. Leading into
Yeah.
fusion, wasn't it?
Yeah, although I did the fusion, I can't remember if I got the hippo out of just an additional summon. I can't remember. But it definitely helped the account. Skinwalkers couldn't have been done without Hoforus. And just looking over at all the other champions, I feel like Brogni was just single-handedly the
Yeah,
champion
no
that
good.
gave me that gave me the dwarves.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he makes dwarves, and I guess you probably had Herndig as well. Like the two of them
yeah,
in
yeah,
Faction Wars just makes it a joke.
yeah, and Geomancer, it was just too much for the boss.
Yeah, yeah. The boss bows down. Because I'm looking at so far, so that I didn't do the first fragment event for me was Versolve, and I actually just straight up said it's too early. I won't be able to do it. Um, and interestingly, when we got to the end, I realized that I'd picked up so many fragments just doing the events that I absolutely could have done Versolve, even as early on as when I just started. Um, I did Rorik, and Rorik is definitely going to help me through my faction wars. Albeit I don't think I'm ever going to 6-star him. I think he's just fine as 50, and I'll just run him unbooked as 50. But
Stuns.
yes, just laying the stuns out and kind of helping me through the waves. But I wasn't able to complete the last um, event mainly because of shards, so I wasn't able to get, and I was a bit gutted about it actually because I really wanted to get Demetha for an unkillable
Right.
team, but I just didn't have enough shards to do it. But still, in doing the events that kind of led up to it, I got a ton of books, and again, I kind of leveled out champions, and it just feels to me like, although we always just concentrate on, who's the main guy behind these events, and this time around it's Vlad, and honestly, Vlad will be okay for this account, but I can't see him being like a crazy good champion for me. With what I don't look at him as someone I definitely want to get leveled up straight away as soon as I get him. But it'll definitely help me with the faction wars again. But even aside from whether I got him or not, all of the different events leading up to it just feel like it's helped my account out massively.
Yeah, just the champion training, which we all find dull and kind of hasn't changed for since forever when we started playing the game.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed in terms of that. Everything else has changed in some way. Even the arena with the 3v3 arena, with the rewards, something has changed. But
Yeah.
for us, the tavern hasn't changed. The way that we level up champions, rank up champions hasn't changed. It feels so boring to do,
Yeah.
and yeah, the repetitiveness of it just makes it extremely boring. So for me to have to do it, it's a good thing. It
Yeah.
forces me, especially on the free to play, it forced me to push when it needed to get those extra rewards, get the fragments, get the fusions done, and also get my teams working on my teams for faction wars.
Yeah. I've got to say as well, so I've only recently started to use RSL Helper as a kind of PC based tool.
Yeah,
And I mean, damn, that's so good for training champions. Just literally load up some energy and
it,
tell it how many 2 stars you want to level or 3 stars you want to level, sort the food out, and then away it goes. It's so good. It's amazing.
it's a
Um,
game changer for sure. I,
yeah.
I I couldn't do 2 accounts if it wasn't for stuff like that.
Yeah.
I use BlueStacks to have an account on the side, and then I would have Plarium Play with RSL at
Yeah.
least open
That's
up.
exactly what I'm doing. BlueStacks running my main, whilst RSL
Yeah,
Helper helps me with the free to play. Again, because I don't think I'd be able to run 2 accounts otherwise. I mean, even with that going on, I still get to the point where I'm just kind of like exhausted in
yeah.
terms of the different things that I'm getting the 2 accounts to run. Um, and I did put a poll up to sort of say, do you guys still want me to do this account now that I've beaten Doom Tower? And it was like, yes, we do. And I'm like, oh man, oh man, it's getting painful. But yeah, I mean, it's probably going on to a different topic, but I mean, please, Raid, give give us some quality of life around time in the game, please. Um, but yeah, look, man,
Uh,
look, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover off because I feel like fusions get a bit of a bad rap, and sometimes if you just kind of sit back and think, how how does this affect me as a player? What's a player experience like? And actually, I think Raid do a pretty good job of directing you to do stuff to help you enjoy the game, even though you might not be enjoying it at that moment in time. So, yeah, I mean,
yeah, I think it's a
yeah,
good way. It's a good way for them to direct, especially the new players, to understand the game more.
mm,
Although I still think they need to change some things, I think they have a good grasp on fusions, which is a big
yeah.
part of this game.
Do you think because a lot of the events and tournaments are all basically the same, just a carbon copy redone? Is there anything that you would change up for this type of thing, just to try and make it a little bit more engaging or exciting for players that kind of have been playing for several months in a row?
Um, I would have loved a fragment event where you would just farm and get single fragments. So not five, but just one fragment from random places, so that you would have maybe 6 hours within the day randomly. Okay, if you're farming the dragon, you have a chance to get a single fragment from that specific champion.
Yeah.
That would
Well,
have
so
been a
like a
great.
random drop type of thing, almost more like an MMO
Yeah,
type style. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, totally random when it's activated. Of course, for time zones and everything, so it would be good for everyone.
Yeah.
But it would help players. Okay, oh, I have 6 hours to get maybe some fragments for this champion that I'm missing, or for this champion that has a fusion going on, but I missed the
Yeah.
20 needed through the summon event.
Because interesting, the only time I think they've ever done it in a different way was for Skull Lord, where you just had to farm 16 um, Skull Swans. You had to
Skull
farm
Sworns,
16
yeah,
Skull Swans, and then you kind of forge those into. Maybe that was it. Did you then forge them into something else? I can't remember, but at least it was different. At least it
Drakes,
was. Yeah, that was it. Into Drakes, and then into.
yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah.
So, at least they kind of came up with something a little bit original and, forced people to do something a little bit different. Albeit, was it the best method? Maybe not. But at least it was something to kind of, break up the monotony of doing the same thing over and over.
I think we did have some kind of events with champion drops from specific dungeons, but I can't remember when it was. I think it was a long time ago.
The actual
If
Oh, yeah, you're
anybody,
right, actually. Like certain rares could drop from like Fire Knight or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's true, actually.
it
We
must
did.
have been like a one-time thing a long time ago.
Because actually, I
Uh,
remember it specifically because Chosen just couldn't. I don't think he ever got the champion. It was just farming and farming, like thousands of energy. I'm pretty sure he never ended up getting the champion. He was absolutely like devastated by it.
Yeah,
I can't remember what the actual legendary was for now, um,
me neither.
but yeah, I think stuff like that, which is just kind of a little bit more original, different, rather than just doing the same old thing over and over, would be cool. Um, but ultimately, back to the point, if we didn't have these things going on, I don't think half the accounts would progress at the rate that they do. And probably because you're not getting the 6 stars coming in, it's harder then to do the content, and I think more people would probably leave. So I think in a weird way, they've kind of got it at a reasonable level, even though I don't like to say it.
Yeah, yeah. We as more veteran players have a different view of the game than the newer players. The newer players are pretty much lost in what they have to do to make their account stronger, and it's easy to say watch videos, but until they reach that point, they're pretty much okay. The tutorial is over. What do I do now? How do I
Yeah,
make my account stronger? And getting into a fusion and seeing the different events kind of forces you to think of all of the different areas that you have to focus in a game in the game.
absolutely. Well, look, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I just had to get that off my chest. Thanks for coming on, Coldbrew. As I said earlier, I will link Coldbrew's channel. We just did a collab on his channel as well, so go and check that out. Coldbrew, any final words?
Just do your events, guys. Get your get your legendary champions, because you never know. Honestly, we say a ton of stuff about the champions that pop up through these different fusions, but you never know how you can use them later on.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Catch you all
Thanks.
later, guys.